Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silent Podcasts. This is the Survivor New York Bannerman Island exit interview. We don't like to be here, but we always love our guests. Joining me, the one, the only, our Lord and Savior, Chris Lord. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, I'm tired. This is the earliest interview we've ever done, but I'm excited to be here with the man of many names. That it has to be one of my favorite introductions in Survivor New York history because
Wow.
I can call him Pookie. I can call him Ari Ferrari is probably my favorite, but I'm so excited to be here with Ari Ferrari.
You can also call me your alarm clock. You asked me what time. I said 9, bright and early. This is now your job, no longer a hobby. I demand you wake up as soon as possible. Thank
Ari,
you
do you
for
have any
asking.
new nicknames?
No new nicknames.
Okay.
Okay.
We're staying. We've plateaued after all these years. I need one more.
Okay,
I need to
copy.
keep growing.
Got it. Well, I'm
I need to
so
meet
glad
more
you're
people.
here. You need to play like another game to get a new nickname. It's like a
Yeah.
badge each time.
That's funny.
It was great. All right, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we get to chat. And to go all the way back, I'm so glad you applied for Survivor New York and that we could have you participate in this season.
You are
How does it?
probably the reason I'm even here. I have no idea how I applied. I don't remember anything about it. I just just know go buy some green stuff, and I'm like, okay, that I remember. Remember going shopping. That was fun. Probably the best part of the whole experience. Buying
It's a
some
good
purple, some
shirt.
green. What else was I buying? I think I already had the blue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you buy
but
purple?
I did not. Purple is not my color. If no, glad I wasn't purple. I like the green shirt. It was a nice one.
It's funny. I think some people have written to me and been like, "Okay, like this is a cool." I like. I'm not a purple person, or they'll write in to when we cast them, and when I tell them the colors, they'll be like, "Listen, this is not my color," and I'll actually be like, "Okay, I will put you on that tribe." Like,
Really,
you
is that all
know,
it takes? Special requests?
but it's always
Mm,
one person, so the tribes itself don't matter. The color of the tribe doesn't matter.
I feel
It's
bad when
a
people buy like 3 new T-shirts and they're like, "Well, I didn't even have to use these two," you know?
return them. Don't take the
Shoot
tags
Yeah,
your
off until
shot.
you
return
get here.
them. But yeah, if you're about to play a live game, they're probably gonna make you buy clothes and colors of the tribes. So get ready for that, or just have everything ready.
Or already have the. Why not have diverse wardrobe? How do you not have
Exactly.
purple? I didn't, but
Exactly.
Very true.
Well, I think that you played because we were just drinking at the bar a lot. That's my interpretation, is that you applied and I was like, Chris, Ari's hilarious. And then the rest is history.
Yes, and I remember Alex also heavily wanting Ari to play, and I think Jordan as well. So it was like you were one of like the no-brainer type of people to bring into this cast.
and for me, like I'm sure I represent every other single person that's on this cast, right? A bunch of dreamers. I've always wanted to be on the show. Why else would anyone do this otherwise, right? So this was a way to live out the dream. Let's see what you got, kid. You know what I mean? So for me, it was about testing yourself and having fun. But that's what I did. It was like, well, if I'm never ever gonna do something that lasts 39 days,
Hmm.
can you do two? And just do the best you can. Just put it all out there. That's why I ended up doing it. But along the way, I was like, hold on, what am I doing? I'm going to like a just complete strange place that I
Yep.
don't know
Show up to this
with
stranger's
people that I
house.
quite frankly, Naomi, I barely knew you. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying? I'm
yeah. Oh
just
no,
like,
1,000%.
no, just go, just up. It felt like that scene in Goodfellas where Robert De Niro's telling, like, no, just down there, just go down
Oh,
there. I'm like, I gotta go where to place what? I gotta do what down there to get some coats on sale? All right, let's go down
it's
there.
it's so funny you say that because it's like it doesn't even like affect me to think that people are thinking that like because they most of the people don't know me at all and they're like coming to this strange house and they're like, what the hell? They could be like abducting me or something, but that's
Correct.
definitely not what
Yes.
we're doing.
On the flip
Um,
side, let me ask you: how do you have 20 strangers at your place? Let's say,
it is
like that is
hard.
wild to me.
It is. and sometimes it's like 30 something people, and it's awful in a lot of ways, I have to say. That's why the newest season of Survivor New York that was filmed, we did not have all the people at my house
Good.
because I
Very
could not
invasive.
take it
Even going to
anymore.
the bathroom, I felt bad. I'm like, what is this?
It's like one bathroom for 30 people.
I know you don't want to get not like you don't want to be so weird, but you also have to be like, guys, like let's all it almost becomes like you're a preschool teacher where you're like, let's all respect our surroundings, boys and girls. Like, let's all like make sure that we're being respectful to Chris's house.
Everyone is pretty respectful, I will definitely say.
Yeah. We have a comment from Jordan Kalish
Oh, look
who
at
says,
this.
let's talk
Ooh.
tribe handlers. What made yours so amazing? So now's your time to air grievances, Ari. Anything that Jordan Kalish may have done to you, we'll talk about. But no. How did it feel to be on the green
What
Polyphone
grievance?
tribe?
Why would I have grievances with anyone at all? First of all, I think he did something he wasn't supposed to do. I think he talked to me. let us play baseball. That was fun.
You thought someone wasn't going to let you play baseball?
What else? The only way Jordan Kalish gets my respect is if he filmed the conversation of Kristen and I strategizing in the Porta-Johns. If he filmed that, he gets a thumbs up from me.
Wait, like actually inside, or
we were in separate stalls and we were strategizing. I think we might have forged a final two in a Porta-John.
that I've never seen.
All right, so Jordan, you are a thumbs up, my friend. How dare you not record such magic? I'll get to you later. That's my grievance. You want a grievance?
That's
right
like
there.
literally in every Survivor New York binder that Naomi gives out in the beginning of the season. It's like, do not film in or around the bathroom. But there's probably like a deep cut of like 50 minutes worth of bathroom.
No, not hidden bathroom cameras, Jordan. We're not asking for that.
No, Jordan.
I was being very loud on purpose so you can record the audio. Anyway, moving on. We're talking deleted scenes at this point.
Oh, jeez.
Is that a secret scene that'll come up on TikTok next week, Chris?
Oh my gosh. I'm looking for more.
Yeah.
But Aria, you come to the house and you're meeting everyone for the first time. Can you talk about your experience that you can remember from that?
Just complete strangers. First of all, I think the first person I met, it was Danny, and it was like a jump scare in a horror movie. He's like, "Hi, I'm Danny," and I was like, "Oh shit!" It was his volume was very loud. I'm very loud too, so I felt like we were almost like the same person, and like just meeting someone that's like your what's the word I'm like a mirror version of you is like terrifying. It's like, oh shit, we're the same people. So he was very intense and he scared the shit out of me. That was the first thing that I remember. Then I remember thinking like, oh my God, Laura's here. Brilliant. This is someone that I've known for a very long time. So caught up and hung out with her. So then after that, I don't even remember anything else. Everything else is just a blur. I don't remember meeting every individual. I don't even remember who came after me. Maybe the last person to show up may have been Annie, I think.
Yes.
Annie was definitely the last person to show up. She missed the train, and like I had coordinated it so perfectly so that everybody was going to arrive on like two trains that got in within 10 minutes of each other. And then Annie missed her train, and it's like what, 20-minute car ride, Chris, to and from the house?
Yes.
So then it was like 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back to get Annie, who got in like hours later.
Do you remember sleeping at night, Ari?
Hell no. What we do that
the Big Ten.
We did a challenge, right? And then we were allegedly supposed to go to sleep or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there was no sleep. All right. So again, I applied to this to live out a dream, right? Like, all right, what would I do? Let me just try to have fun with this. And I thought it would be funny, hilarious, if I would wait until everyone was sleeping. And it was almost impossible to sleep because you got Stan snoring the entire night. If I had been on a tribe with him, he would have been my immediate for that reason alone. Like, we can't guys, we're gonna sleep here one other night. We're gonna put up with this again. Like, I'm good. If I had been on purple, that's what would have it would have been me or Stan. Either way, right? I would have zoned in on someone. Like, you gotta go, man. The snoring was ridiculous. The fact that he's still there amazes me. Anyway, moving on. Day 0, right? We're still talking about that. Day 0.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, trying to sleep. I thought it'd be hilarious if I can look for a hidden immunity idol somewhere, and right, like I'm a genius, right? Who else is thinking of this? Nobody. So I wait. Who knows how long I'm even waiting? But what I believe is a long enough time where I stop hearing the whispering. I like try to shimmy out of like the bed, and I pretend like I'm going to the bathroom to look for
Right.
a hidden immunity idol that obviously, it's going to be hidden out there for the bold to look for, and no one's sleeping. So as soon as I go back, it's again, it's like a horror movie. Danny's back. He's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I'm like, nothing. No, I'm not doing anything. And I was like, "Hey man, do you wanna strategize?" He's like, "No, you got to go to bed." I was like, "Oh shit, he's not playing. He's being dead
That's
serious."
funny.
So from that moment, I was like, "Oh, I've lost him. I've lost Danny. It's not looking good." So that's why, like, I felt like I lost the game on day 0. Like, I had no shot. Like, I screwed up. Even after we separate what the tribes are, I'm not talking to my tribe mates. I'm talking to like Laura and like other people, like Julia, Brienne. Like, I'm not even strategizing with my people. I'm hanging out with others because I'm this genius that thinks, nah, man, you got to think ahead. So like everything's just, I think I'm being brilliant, but I'm being an idiot in every sense of the word. So that's day 0. That's where I lost. Like, everything I'm doing is sketch. Everything's suspect. If I were looking at that kind of behavior, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not. That guy's weird. What is he doing? Why is he pretending to use the bathroom at 4 in the morning? So those antics, all they get me is I wake up and everyone's already awake. I'm like, oh shit, nobody woke me up. And I'm the last one out of bed. So who knows what else I'm missing out on? You know what I'm saying? So I slept in.
There's like a world where I think that Chris, you and I could go wake them all up at the same time. Be like, we will wake you up. But there's also a world where I love sleeping in as much as I can on that last day. And so when someone's like, I woke up last, I'd be like, that's your problem. Like, I
Yeah, that's my
can
problem,
help
bro.
you.
That's my problem. That's what you get.
All
Looking
right,
for
I think
hidden immunity idols by the apple tree.
that I think
There's
we
none there,
explicitly said
gang.
we're not hidden at the house at that time.
No.
Good to know. That's great.
All right, I had a question about the challenge that happened on day 0.
Okay.
Because if I had to give anybody the title of the Brawn tribe, I would give it to Palapel.
Okay.
And the choice, if anyone did not see the exclusive first look where we feature the reward challenge, it was a choice between Brain and Brawn. And I thought people were going to go Brain because we were literally going to do Survivor trivia. I was like, how could they not see this coming, right? Trivia. And anyways, you guys chose Brawn, and I was shocked. And you did this challenge, but I thought that because you guys won, I thought it established early on that you guys were very good at challenges. Do you remember feeling anything from the outcome of this challenge, or just in the moment what was happening?
If I remember, no, but as I reflect, like, it's definitely like immediate. It's like, oh, we got a strong team. Like, we ain't going nowhere. Like, just when you do a little what do you call that? Sizing people up. You start comparing. You're like, oh, all right, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Doesn't go any deeper than that. I mean, these challenges.
I'm still mad too. Honestly, the thing about it was that we were so excited. We were like 99%
Shout out to
certain there was going to be freaking trivia, and it wasn't. And we are like, okay, we have the other challenge in place, but it's gonna be funny.
But I don't, trivia. I'm not good at I'm not good at Survivor trivia. Like, I'm a fan. I enjoy the show, but I don't absorb information. That's why I'll be watching the same season multiple times. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that happening. Like,
I'm
you're
the
not paying
same.
attention. Yeah, like, I'm an idiot.
So day 1, morning, hours into the game, I like I think Ari that you described it earlier, and I think it's correct, is that you were looking towards the long game and that you were not looking at the present moment. And I'm just curious for you, what like you walked away from that experience and then you were able to reflect because you haven't really watched the episodes. But I don't think that you need to because I think you are a very perceptive person of yourself and the situation you're in. And I think you realized everything as soon as it happened. So I'm just curious, what would you do differently if we start day one all over again and you have to sort of be with these tribe of hooligans one more time?
All right. So let's say I've got the knowledge is power, right? You're like young Ari. Here's the knowledge I bestow upon you. All right. So these are the mistakes that I made. I was a terrible ally. I thought I was this genius strategist. I'm like, yo, I'm not playing a two-sided game. I'm playing a five-sided game. You know, like that. Like I was essentially lying to everyone because I couldn't keep it real with anyone, right? I was like, I was aligned in my head. Like I wasn't ever gonna betray Kristen, McKenna, Robin. You know what I'm saying? But in front of them, I had to say nice things about Danny, who I was like, yo, I got to get him out. I was even saying like, yo, Danny's good. Like I remember like vouching for him, right? Because I wanted to give Danny the illusion that I'm on his side. You know what I'm saying? But what I should have done was just keep it 100. Like, yo, I'm not working with you, and that's the line in the sand. But if I'm lying to everyone, right? Like if I'm not telling Kristen, McKenna, or Robin that I'm not gonna be playing. I'm not gonna be playing with them. I'm not gonna be aligned with them. If I'm vouching for them, then it just sounds like, all right, then who else you got? You know what I'm saying? So I was a terrible ally. I was lying to everyone, even though I had people's back. You know what I'm saying? So even with McKenna, who I trusted, I wanted to go far with, she was sketched out. You know what I'm saying? So I was just a bad ally. And so really the lesson is just more of, yo, play your own game. If you don't see yourself meshing with someone, don't shove it down the throat. Like just do what you want to do, you know? And that's why I decided, like, if I ever play again, it's just I'm gonna I'm gonna play with the people that I like. Straight up. That's it.
That's a good point.
I'd rather just lose because I'm gonna lose anyway. You feel me?
Oh yeah, I
agree.
fucking
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever watch this. I fucking
wanna
hated a
know-
lot of the people I played Real Foot with, and like I'm glad I didn't have to spend more time with them.
You still talk about that to this day.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. That's how much I didn't like a lot of them.
Yeah.
But
So
Ari,
I was never gonna turn on three of those people. Like I would rather just lose, you know?
but in reality, let's talk about like what actually happened. So, you know, Danny gets chosen as the leader. He
Great.
chooses
Stand tall. You like to talk? Yeah, take the lead. Great.
and Andy, he chooses Andy. So can you, because we don't know, like I still don't know to this day, like, do you know why Danny was chosen for that position? Did he volunteer? Did you guys just
I don't
vote on
remember.
it?
I have no idea.
That's fair. That's
I think
fine.
I think it was just someone wants to step up. You step up. I'm the kind of person that'll step up if we're literally just looking at each other for 5 minutes. I'll be like, damn, really? Me? I'm the one that's got to do it. But I think he was a little quicker to volunteer himself.
And why do you think he picked Andy so
I
quickly?
don't
Did you
know.
see them?
I've-
Did you see them
I have
like
no idea.
snuggling at night?
Oh, you know what? You know what I
I don't
do
know.
remember? I do remember.
We're live, and I'm not editing this out, so
Okay.
think about it.
All right. There were two others that were. Ooh. Come up to me at the
Ooh.
bar and I will reveal. I do
Oh,
remember
no,
that.
later.
Damn, you're triggering memories, Chris. Look at this. It's all coming back. To
See?
you.
I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot of room. Like I always
There's
feel
not a lot of
bad
room.
when I'm like, hey, these are some strangers. They seem really cool. You do have to sleep next to them.
Yeah. And they're also your competition, right? So the stronger
Yeah.
your enemy, the tighter
Exactly.
So you came to the camp, but you just had like this chokehold that Andy had found the idol. Like that was seemingly like your storyline for all three of the episodes. Whenever you decide to watch it, if you ever do, is that Andy has the idol, he's lying to you, and you're trying to constantly convince the tribe that he's a liar and that he should go home first. So what made you have this chokehold that Andy definitely had it? And did you maybe just go through his stuff or try to confirm it at all?
And do you still believe
No,
that he is the idol?
no, he doesn't. I feel all right. So number one,
Uh,
you got to commit to the bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be just like being a mad scientist. Like, oh, now this and now that, and now I'm throwing everyone's name around. So in terms of all right, what's the strategy? What was I thinking? I didn't want to throw other people's names around, right? So we literally just spoke how I didn't want to turn on Kristen, McKenna, Robin. I didn't want to do that. It was I, I- for me, those were off limits, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm just not playing like that. So one, it was always going to be between Danny and Andy. And then number two is like, all right, now I got a bullshit excuse, some reason just to point the finger. And also he was acting mad weird. I believed he had it. Just because I'm wrong don't mean that like I don't still believe it. I'm just wrong. He didn't have it. But he was just acting mad weird. And I was thinking like, all right, if I'm gonna be at a merge situation, why would I want to continue interacting with someone where I have no idea if they're telling the truth? I have no idea if he's telling the truth that he doesn't have it. Why do I get this suspicion that he does? That's not good, right? Like it would just be this paranoia that would be lingering if we continue to work together in other rounds. So that's reason number one, just like the vibe. Well, actually, reason number one is you gotta commit to the bit. Like, I can't throw other people's names. That is just a rule. I think I would have. I try to stay away from throwing a lot of. People say I was throwing a lot of names. That's not true.
Well,
I believe you were
I don't
just
think,
very focused on Andy.
Yeah, exactly.
and
I would say things to try and not have people suspicious. Like I wanted to work. I was working with Robin, right? But if people would ask me about Robin, I would try to defend them or just try to not put spotlight on them by saying like, "Oh, they're not even talking game with me," as a way of showing distance. You feel me? Maybe that was the bad move. I don't know. Maybe I should have just been, "Hey, I like Robin. Why don't we just make this group of four? Bing, boom." I don't know. Maybe I should have done that, but uh, I thought I was being a genius by trying to show separation, like with the people that I wanted to work with, and then I was doing the reverse with someone like Daniel. I was like, no, let's work with him when I really didn't.
I also think that in a tribe of 6, you have to figure out who your 4 are. Who's the 4 immediately with you in it. So you figured out that you wanted to work with those 3 people, and then the other 2 were on the outs to you. And that's like an immediate decision you need to make when you're working in a group of 6 people and you need an alliance. I also feel like the round where you get voted out, the round where you guys lose, it becomes this game of like people coming up with the master plan. And I think in some ways, the way that you went about it was like, okay, I might be saying the same, but it's not what I'm saying. Like you were very clear with your allies, like this is what I am doing. It's just that nobody else wanted to do it, which is such a shame
Yeah,
because it wasn't a
exactly.
bad plan or anything. You weren't like out of control, like, oh, let's split 5 votes, whatever, which way. It was just like, I want to vote out Andy. Just be ready. Like, let's do this. And it didn't really happen. Nobody else was on board.
I feel like you were
I
like
think
serving the same purpose as Danny. I feel like in a way, like you guys are both such a like leadership sort of vibes to me. I think if Danny wasn't there and if somebody was a little bit more like beta personality, I think you would have taken over that spot, and people would have been coming to you with all the information and wanting to work with you in the way that it seemed like Danny was. I feel like you could have easily been like the leader if
ooh,
Danny wasn't there.
you know what I think would be great to talk about, like the challenges, right? Like I remember like we were strategizing, and that's when I would feel like really insecure of like, oh shit, like I'm not good enough for this because puzzles. I'm a moron when it comes to puzzles.
Oh,
I was looking at McKenna and Chris, and I'm like, I hope it's you two because it sure as hell ain't me. And
but
then
you could dig really well.
You found all
can't.
3 pieces. You found all 3 pieces.
I mean, Thank you. But when we're doing the challenges, I look at me, Andy, and Danny, and I'm like, all right, we're kind of serving the same purpose. You know, Andy's tall, so he could run like his running is like anyway. We kind of serve the same role. Uh, but those two would put Robin and I in the same category. So then me and Robin are like, what the like so what? We gotta like turn on each other because we keep putting they keep putting us in the same jobs that require like the I guess I would say the least amount of effort. I don't know, right? Like it's not as physical, and I felt like they were putting us in the box, and I didn't like that either. So that I struggled more with the challenges from the strategizing of like, yo, I feel like I'm an extra piece. I feel like I don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like here's two people that can fill my spot, and the tribe clearly sees other people that can fill my spot. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I would say, the worst part of it.
Michael, the
Digging
Wicked
is way more.
legend,
Yo, shout out to
saying from
Michael.
non-puzzler, digging
I'm
is way more work.
surprised.
Hi,
I'm surprised that
Michael.
Michael. I'm surprised Michael is not a puzzler. I feel like he's a legend, and he would be
Yeah,
good at everything. But I agree, digging is important because a lot of people don't. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't like the aspect of digging and like getting dirty and like sand underneath my nails. So maybe that's where you shine, Ari. I thought you did really well in the challenges. You ran super quick, and that second challenge, I think you were the fastest runner. Like you could run. Like if anything, I'll give you those
Oh.
two.
vroom, vroom, vroom. The Ferrari goes
Literally.
0 to 60.
Yeah, if you ever want to watch a clip, you running during the last challenge is one of my favorite things. You're like a
And I'll set
speeding
it in
bullet. You're
2x.
off.
Yes.
You're taking off.
Ari, I want to know
Well,
your
that and
reaction
look, right?
to
You that's your
Laura.
perspective, right? But when we're strategizing, I was like, yo, I don't belong here. I'm not good enough. You
Yeah.
know, like it's
No,
interesting,
you
right?
are. You have to believe that. You
No,
have to believe
I
that.
mean, look, don't get it twisted, right? I'm gonna do my best, but at the time, I felt like when we're sizing up the team and who belongs where, in my head, right? I'm like, all right, if I get rid of if we vote out McKenna, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Puzzles? LOL. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where it
Yeah.
comes from. Where it's like I'm sure as hell not gonna be the reason why the tribe wins. You know, like that's where it comes from. Like
I thought you were
my
helpful.
role could be filled by
I think you're
others.
being really hard on yourself. I
I,
think
But this
you
is this
you're
is
pretty
exactly what
decent.
you were talking about like I'm gonna just try this to prove myself because this is your assessment of yourself, and as people who watch the tapes so many fucking times, oh my god, I can't even tell you. Um, you were always like a solid part of the challenges. Like if they had voted you out and said like, "Oh, you're bad at the challenges," I'd have been like, "That's the biggest bullshit I've ever
yeah.
heard in my life."
That's fascinating, right? I think that's
Yeah,
the beauty of it all, right? Just because you know the competition of it all. Like you still want to do your best, you know.
yeah, and I think
So
you did just that. But also, what part of the challenges I think is outside of the survivor strategy and the like, I want to see how good I am at survivor. The challenges are just like a fun little way to be competitive. Don't take it too seriously, but you get to see like, yeah, would I be good at a puzzle if that's your kind of vibe? I think I love doing the puzzles and challenges because I want to beat other people in puzzles. Like if it's its own mini game of like, am I good at this?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's a
you're talking
challenge,
about.
right?
yes.
And your life or your tribe depends on it. It's pretty gnarly, I think.
Ari, when Laura got voted out, what was your
I was like, God,
reaction?
really, yo, why they got to make this harder for me? First of all, I was very upset. I wasn't with any of my friends. Very upset.
Sorry.
Very rude. I didn't like that. I wanted to be with all my friends. No, but
Of course.
I was upset. Number one, I knew how far she traveled. Number two, obviously I was gonna work with her. Duh. Number three, what the hell? The first, like, what did she do? So, I love Laura. I've known her for what are we on? 11 years. Wild. I've known
Wow.
Laura for a very long time. Big fan. Yeah, it just goes beyond a little, a game like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've met her
You guys went
family.
to a
Like,
wedding together, she said.
yeah, yeah, I've met her family. It's that's a lot. Yeah, she's great. I love her.
I was
I
shocked
also
that both of you were voted out quite early. Like I remember
yeah.
as I watched and spoiler alert for episode 4, which is already out, but Andrew gets voted out. I remember just being shocked at the boot order. Every time somebody got voted out, I was like, how did they get voted? It was just so surprising to me. And yeah, as
Who'd you
Taylor
think?
says,
Who'd you think was going home on green then? If not me.
oh, I knew you were going home, but I
All
was
right then.
shocked that it
What's
like,
so shocking?
well, just like knowing you and knowing what a smart person you are, but also like I had known you for a short period of time, and I was like, I really like Ari. Like, what a very social person and a sociable person. Because also something, not to sidetrack too much to this Laura conversation, because we love Laura, but I always thought that you had a very strong charisma ability, which sounds like weird to phrase it that way. I don't know, but like you
It's
were
like an
always very good
RPG.
at
My charisma and is
charisma's
a
at like a
9.
10 or
Yeah.
a 20,
My
right?
dexterity a 3.
But you also had a great ability to listen to people and actually hear what they were saying, which I think is a very, very useful skill in Survivor. And so when I saw you doing that, but saw that people weren't sort of into it, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, who are these people?
I will
I
say I
think
was
the
surprised that you
decision
were
maker
voted out.
was McKenna. I feel like if McKenna said we're working
I don't think
with
so.
Ari, I think everyone else would have.
You think McKenna? I really think it was
I
Danny.
think so.
I think
You think it was
if you had
Danny?
just been if you had just told Danny you have undying loyalty to him, he would have made it happen. That Robin would have left. I
I
remember
think a problem
getting
is
the
I sketched
text
out McKenna,
messages that
right?
Robin was on the outside. So I never thought you were gonna go home early. I thought it was gonna be Robin. Maybe to your credit or miscredit, if you had gone for Robin, maybe it would have worked.
Yeah,
But you
I
wouldn't have
wouldn't
done that.
have. Nah, I would have. I'm good. Because I wanted to work with Robin, right? So why would I cut an ally? Like what the hell? Where I did a bad job, and I'll tell you where I did a bad job. There was a point where I was having a conversation. We were strategizing. I think it was Kristen, McKenna, and Danny. I think they were there, and so all Kristen and McKenna have been hearing is me like kind of throwing Danny a little bit under the bus. But if Danny's there, I'm like defending him a little bit. So McKenna's like, "What the hell, dude? Like, where do you stand?" And I'm like, ugh. So again, I should have just kept it real. Like Danny, I'm like, I'm not working with you, bro. Like, I think if I would have
I
been
actually really
more
like a
deep
conversation of
down,
you and the three. Did you remember the conversation that you had? Because I know you didn't watch the episode, but there was a conversation you had with Chris and McKenna and Robin. You're basically spilling that Danny didn't want to work with you rather than work with that trio, and something happened, and it was sort of this revelation to Kristen, McKenna, and Robin that maybe the two boys don't really want to work with them as much. Do you remember that sort of
yeah.
situation?
Yeah, and the smart again. This is where I talk about like I was a bad ally. A good ally would have brought that information immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't bring it up immediately, and I waited for it to be a group. I should have done it one on one. Like, hey, FYI, I was just looking for the idol with these people, and they said X, Y, and Z. Rather than I was waiting for this like opportunity of oh, they're all three of them are hanging out. Let me just open the floodgates. So then it just seems sketchy. Like why all of a sudden is he saying this? You know what I'm saying? But I remember that, yeah, because I remember thinking at the time I was like, oof, I should have taken a different approach at the time. Even at the time, I knew I screwed up. I was like, oof.
I mean, you can't be talking about wanting to vote a guy out and then playing baseball with him moments later, you know?
Yeah.
It just looks sketchy.
I thought I was this brilliant strategist. I was like, oh, I'll just pretend I want to play the long game with Danny. Let me pretend to, you know what I'm saying? But like they saw through that, you know. I would have voted me out too with that kind of behavior. I think I sketched everyone out just with the way I was acting, right? Like Danny sees me like pretending to use the bathroom to look for an idol, right? When everyone's supposed to be sleeping. I ask him to strategize and he says no. Like I'm sure he's told that to everyone else. Like I lost the game on day 0. Like
I think
just
that's
sketched
so
everyone out.
awkward though. Like I don't understand
What do
why
you mean?
Danny would say no.
Because
Like
I don't know,
you
he's like
don't.
that. That's
That's one
great.
thing. You don't turn down alliances or in Survivor. I feel like you have to
But he
just
did, and I was
keep
like,
every
oh shit,
option open,
okay.
even for like 10 seconds. Just talk to him and strategize. Horrible.
No, but I think it came off sketchy because you know what? You can now create the narrative of like, oh, Ari was trying to strategize at 4 a.m. You know what I'm saying? You now you can tell 4 other people this. So there's some power in saying no. He's like, he wanted to be, a sketch ball, but I have morals, and I said no.
I find Danny as a character to be kind of fascinating, and I think that I almost wonder if like he thinks he's just sort of keeping everybody at a steady pace. Like he really does see himself in many ways as the leader of the Mickey Mouse Club. And he's just keeping everybody on, like we're all gonna get through this, we're gonna be all right. And I think it's funny, like you're kind of fighting you're fighting the king in a weird way. You're like you're treasonous in some way.
You know what I remember? The hand clapping thing.
Yeah.
At the picnic tables, I remember thinking, I was like, yo, this is quite
that's
possibly the whitest shit I've ever done in my entire life. What is this? What is happening? Like I'm an adult. And we were all just doing the hand clapping. It felt like camp. Like I felt like a kid again. But it was literally one of the whitest things I've ever done in my life.
And not fake Survivor, just that one mini
the hand clapping. Where is like, I'm assuming he's like a camp counselor somewhere, right? Like
I think
where do you learn these skills? Where do you learn this clapping game?
I think
there's one of my favorite
teacher.
moments of one of my favorite moments of one of the episodes is that like Danny and Andy go get tree mail, and Danny's like, how are your out loud reading skills? And he's like, you should do it, you're a teacher. And he goes, okay. And Andy just goes, and I'm dyslexic, so you should do it. It's like I love watching them.
That's funny. Andy's really funny.
Andy's so funny. And I think my perspective watching back the episode, the footage, is that Andy gets super nervous because he's put in an awkward position where, hey guys, I took the right path. I told you there's an idol. He really did not find it. He never found it. And he tries to do what's right. And then I think he gets very, very nervous that like people think that he hit it anyways and that he has it. And then he is just like playing kind of like panicked the whole first part of the game, in my opinion.
Because of me. I mean,
and Kristen, because Kristen finds that I don't
charge all the way.
Yeah. She says, "No, thank you. I'll keep this for myself." And I think he doesn't really start to like relax until
I'm gone.
Yeah, you're voted out, but also he like finds the idol in Kristen's bag, and he realizes like, okay, I know where it is.
By the way, I had no idea. He didn't tell me about. Hey, I searched her bag. He didn't tell me.
You didn't get looped in.
He didn't. No news, no updates. Maybe he's the terrible ally. But again, why would he tell me, right? Like I'm throwing his freaking name out from day one. But he didn't tell me. Maybe that would have been a way for me to believe him. Yeah, but he didn't tell me that. To this day, I still thought Andy had it.
Shut up. That cannot possibly be true.
No, I found out a few. I found out sooner, I certainly did not leave the grounds knowing who the ultimate holder was.
Wow, that's bananas.
Which I'm also upset. I thought Kristen would have told me. So that's upsetting too. In my head, Kristen's my final two.
I was surprised, but also I think Kristen had a lot of final twos on this tribe. And I think that Kristen is one of the people who I think is most scarred from past experiences.
Then why is that funny to me? Why did I laugh?
She's just like I say scarred.
So I'm what, like version 3? How many? I don't even know how many games.
Well, like she talks about it in the episode. She says like, I didn't even tell my twin sister I had an idol one time. Like she just doesn't tell anybody. That's her MO.
That is wild. But you know what? I kind of get it, right? Like you get emotionally invested in the people you're playing with, right? So people ask to apply for their games. I'm like, I don't I'm not sure if I'm gonna be playing too many of these because I like the people that I'm with, and I don't want to. I'm literally lying. Like I don't like doing that. It's not very fun. So like I get it. I kind of understand where Kristen's coming from with that because it is hard, right? Like I literally spent like a few hours with strangers, and I'm like, oh, these are great people. We've hung out outside of this, and but still, like when you actually break it down, it's someone that I've known for a few hours, right?
Yeah.
Ari, did you know
Chris.
about Andy looking through the bag? Or did you
No, I had
know
no
anything about
idea.
maybe
He didn't
Kristen?
say anything. If he told me like, yeah, I searched through her bag, I mean, I would have told Kristen.
Oh,
Did it ever cross
really?
your mind to maybe like search through someone's bag?
No, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was legit looking for the idol. I thought I was gonna find it.
Oh my god, you guys tore that page up.
playing this was very humbling because I thought I was like a genius, like mastermind. It's like, no, you're a moron. Just be cool. That's it. That's the rule. I'm
Well,
bad at strategy. Like I'm literally like it's literally let someone else do the thinking because I can't.
Honestly, you were
Like
so
people start
confident in
talking numbers and I'm
everything.
like, what? Like, how did you even think of this? Like, sure, like you thought about it that much. I'll follow you.
well, on the topic of being humbled, I'm just curious because I think that so Danny did a wonderful game in what was it, Clinton Park? What was it called?
Yes, Clinton DeWitt Park.
Mhm.
And you got to sort of be like the hey, you just got voted out therapist, which I think is such a funny role that you would fill. And looking back into this game, seeing lots of people get voted out and how they feel about it, do you happily accept being humbled? Do you take it with pride? I'm just thinking about all the like esoteric emotional thoughts about playing these games and getting voted out and all that good stuff.
But before I get into that,
Okay.
I want to give Danny a huge shout out. I kind of been talking shit about him for the past hour here, but my man put on a one-man Survivor game. I was there to help, quote unquote. I'm not sure if people can like see the video, but like I was there to help. But if I wasn't there, that game was gonna be run the same way it was gonna be run either way. My man was setting up tribal councils. He was setting up the challenges. He was tallying the votes all on his own. Crazy. A lot of respect for creative challenges that you can run in a public park. I think some of our gear was stolen by a wandering thief at one point because public park, New York City. What are you gonna do? But no, it was all right. So back to the day. People are up at like 5, 6 a.m. I love this. I don't want to play anymore. I just want to watch. Let me just watch this stuff play out live in front of my face. I don't care if it's in a park, at a beach, at the pond, at someone's house. I just love watching the drama unfold. You don't know what's going to happen next. So I decide to help. And we're there super early. People get divided into tribes. And I didn't really have a role. So after the first person gets voted out, who is someone who I can relate to in the sense of they probably had all the confidence in the world that they wouldn't get voted out, and then to see the complete confusion of like who, what, when, where, how, why. I went up to him and I would ask everyone that got voted out the same three. It was like The Walking Dead, and I'm Rick. I'm like, question one. Did you have fun? And everyone would say yes. Question number two. Would you do it again? And they would say yes. And then, that was good to hear, right? Because like everyone was legit pissed. Everyone's competitive that was there. It was a complete mix of strangers, some people that knew each other, some people that knew Danny, some people that didn't, but it was a random mix of New Yorkers, let's say. But the cool thing about it is, even without me not saying anything, everyone that got voted out, after they said they would do it again, after they said they had fun, they all stuck around. It was like a Saturday. People got shit to do. September, the weather's nice. It's beautiful out. And every single person stayed. Everyone drank some beers. They sat off to the side and up through, I would say, well after the merge, people were just hanging out, and I thought there was something really cool, something really beautiful about like you guys are trying to like cut each other's throats, and now you're sharing a beer off to the side, and all of you were pissed and upset, and all of you just told me you would do it again, and you can literally go home, but you're here watching this. Like I thought there's something really cool, and I think there's something there in terms of I don't know. I don't know what that means quite yet, like whether that means like a community aspect or I don't know. But there's definitely something there about getting
But
strangers and New
wasn't the
Yorkers
cast
together in a park.
mostly like new people who have never played Survivor?
Say that again. Could you repeat the question?
I'm sorry, I'm lagging, I guess. Yes. So the game, I think, mostly was people who had never played Survivor before or didn't really know anything about
They don't
this.
even know what the show is. There was one unit, which is very
So
similar to probably real Survivor casting. There was one young lady who said she liked Survivor on her Tinder profile, and they matched. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to play?" It wasn't even a date. Like, so she knew what it was, but she didn't know anything about like that. This is a thing that exists. So I find it fascinating. It's like, hey, there are a lot. I don't know. It's just very cool. It's like
That's the next level, Chris. You and I are gonna have to make Tinder profiles and then look for the Survivor fans and be like, "Hey, do you want to come play?"
just like the real CBS show. That's how they do it. They had a. I don't even remember if
that
he
would
had
be
an
great.
even mix of men and women. I think he did. Like, shout out to Danny. That was intense to pull off. Like, it was very good. I want to see more of that. Right. I think there's something really cool there. Was it being filmed? It wasn't even being filmed. It was, but it wasn't like edited like this. Would you guys ever do random games like that where it's not being filmed, or are you guys just like do you like the attention?
I heard that he's doing another one soon.
Ooh, sounds like you're playing. Ooh, he's lagging. He's lagging, Naomi. What do we do?
Maybe he's playing. Maybe he's playing. I
Oh no, I'm not playing.
I love Robin
I'm
jumping in
not.
to say they would have flopped at Survivor Trivia because
Yeah.
Robin knew nothing about Survivor before playing, and I love
Meanwhile,
that about them.
I thought Robin was the smartest one. It was the smartest people there were Robin, McKenna, and Kristen. They knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I was following their lead. People were saying like, "Oh, like you could have been charismatic." Like, no, I'm listening to them. Like, I'm not taking any leads except for Andy. That was also part of the like. I also felt like I had to be like take the offensive, like be the first person to throw the name out there, and just commit to the bit. Not sorry, Andy.
That's actually a good point.
Be consistent.
To circle back on, no, is that I think while everybody was playing at maybe like a 20% speed until tribal council came, you were almost at like a 60-70. Like, you were putting names out there. You were telling people, here's who I'm going to vote for. This is where I feel that I'm at. And it is useful if you think that your tribe is really divided to know where somebody stood. But I think, like you mentioned, it sort of skeeved some people out. But also, you became the person who was throwing names out first. And it was an easy way to weaponize voting you out. Like, it was an easy thing to take, action that you were doing to say, we should vote him out instead.
I didn't even know my name was being thrown out there. I think there was a
you
period
seemed really
in time,
surprised.
Yeah, I had no idea. I think there was a period in time where it was kind of clicking, where I think I was telling a confessional of what the scenarios of what can happen. And I think as I was talking through that, I was like, oh shit, I'm the target. Like, it was, I think there was, I think on CBS Survivor, there was a confessional of a player like coming to terms with a plan, and it like clicked, like a light bulb went out for her. That happened to me, but realizing that I was the target, I was like, oh, wait, I think it was literally the last thing I said before we had to vote. So I had no idea. So there's a part of me that feels like if I'm the person throwing out names, the way to correct it is by saying, nah, I'm throwing out a name. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't even defend that, though. So I had no idea my name was being thrown out. The light only even started being turned on about that idea as I was talking through the scenario. So you can probably see live action footage of slow motion of it hitting me. Of oh, he realizes he's the target.
Chris, any thoughts?
What do you got, Chris?
Am I still lagging really bad?
You are.
Nah,
But
you're
it's okay.
good.
Go ahead, girl. Let's. Listen, good.
Okay. So I'm kind of like trying to catch up to you guys, but so Ari, I just want to ask about, I guess you're talking about your elimination.
Well, we tried.
And like um
Oh boy.
Well,
Chris,
the timing couldn't have been better. Why don't we type out the question? Maybe we'll
yeah,
we'll
Chris,
read it
type
out
out the
loud.
question.
back
Chris, you're
or
gonna.
not? I'm like,
It's a little
oh
it's a
my
little back and
God.
forth.
The timing couldn't have been better. Chris, you might have to type out the. Well, can't hear me anymore. Naomi, what else you got?
So I wanted to talk briefly about what we did. We had a conversation after Survivor New York that I think you took into Survivor Philly, because I see that some people are confused about the timeline of, like, you know, what's the Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline
I'm
of
like
Survivor New York.
what is the timeline? All right, so I played this August 21.
Yeah,
that was
21.
2021.
And then Philly was September of 21. And I think you and I had conversations
September 11, never forget.
Yeah, never forget Survivor Philadelphia. And I'm curious what you took, not to be like, hey, I'm a genius and I have great ideas, but what did you take from Survivor New York to apply to a different situation? Not even to be like, hey, guys, listen to this and you can win, but actually more so the idea of, like, what can you take away from a game experience where you don't do well? Because I think a lot of people find it very hard to do that.
Yeah, number one. As soon as I got eliminated, number one, with Survivor New York, so here's the timeline, right? August 20 for whatever, and then September 11 for Philly, right? So it's like 3 weeks, whatever. I'm like Malcolm, going back for a second chance. The kid gets a 3-week break, and I'm like eating donuts the whole time until I go back, until I drive up to Philly. So, what was I talking about? Fuck, I forgot.
Of getting eliminated early.
Oh, okay, that's right. All right, so I remember getting eliminated, and first of all, like, appreciate the time to hang out with some of the people, that they're like, hey, how you feeling? George, Laura, some of the other folks that I hung out with before I left, before I went home. And I remember as I was leaving, it looks like you guys were gonna like do some merge or swap or some shit. So I remember as I was leaving, I saw all the people that voted my ass out, and I remember which first of all, I also didn't know Robin had an extra vote. No idea. So again, I had no idea about what was happening there.
That was literally explained at the challenge.
I'm not paying attention. I'm an idiot. I'm like
literally, Ahsopa's was given an extra vote to give to somebody, and Robin used it very smartly to throw a vote onto Andy in case you had the idol somehow.
I was looking at the clouds at the time. I was busy. I told you I'm a more like this. This is what I've learned, right? Like, you're asking what I've learned. All right, this is what I've learned. So I just remember thinking, I'm like, all right, and I wish them all good luck, and I like them all as people, and I legit wish that. And I remember thinking, like, I had fun, right? Like, I got what I asked for. I deserved getting voted out. And all right, so we're talking like, what did I learn? One, be humble. Like, you're not a genius. You don't know shit. There's always going to be someone that's going to be smarter than you. Number two, be a good ally. I was a terrible ally. I'm sure I sketched everyone out, and there was a reason why, even though I was committed and genuine with people, that they were like, nah, I'm good. So, and then number three, you gave some brilliant advice of just stick to the group, man. Don't go out into the ocean when everyone else is hanging out by a table. So like literally the biggest lesson that I learned was I think we just spent the past hour talking about like, oh, even though I was threatened by Danny and wanted to vote him out, I was telling him to his face that I want to, keep working with him. So I decided in Philly, I was like, bro, if you're gonna lose anyway, like just play your own game. Who cares? Have fun, play with the people you want to play with, and who cares? Like you're literally there, have fun. And it's that simple, right? Like if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose anyway, playing with the people I'm gonna defend with, right? Like anyway, the people that I played with are the people that I wanted to play with. That's simple.
I'm on my phone now. Here.
You did it, Chris. You did it. It's okay. Robin leaves, I think, a comment that I completely agree with. You are a great strategist, just went a little too hard when we didn't even flop. Yes,
that's
again,
true.
That at like 60 miles per hour when you hadn't even lost. Chris, questions? What's on your mind now that you're
I was
back?
trying to ask before, just like during tribal council, like through the vibes of everything, did you feel like you were about to get voted out, or did you not know until like the votes came out?
Not until the vote. Like I thought Andy was going home. I was like, what the hell? Like I think at tribal it was it's almost like the Jaws music where first it's faint and as the night continues it's getting louder and the fiddle strokes are getting shorter, like da-na, da-na. That's what it felt like as and then as the first vote gets read, then I knew game over. GG. That's it. Good game, kid. You did your best. You know what I'm saying? I think once I saw the first name, I thought they ain't gonna be another. I was hoping for more Andy votes. When I saw the second one, I was like, oh my god, there's hope.
I will
like
say
I wasn't even tracking the number of votes. Like it even occurred to me that was an extra one.
Well, the thing is, the votes. Alex was really adamant that we should stack the votes Ari, and then do Andy to make it seem like it was going to be a blindside. But looking back, I didn't really like it so much because it kind of was like too obvious. I think even to you, like seeing your name 3 times in a row
I
right
still
off
had
the
hope.
bat.
Nah, I had hope.
Like,
I had hope.
Okay, as long as you had hope,
I had hope.
then I feel better about it.
No, I had hope.
Did you
Because I
have?
thought someone was gonna come through. I was like, damn, bro, really?
Did you have suspicions that Robin had the extra vote?
Hell no. Hell no.
We just talked about this, Chris. I already forgot that there was even
no
an
idea.
Vote.
Okay, that's fair.
It didn't even occur to me. Like I didn't even know there were more votes than tribe mates at the time. When you read my name, I was still waiting on. Maybe there's one more Andy. That's how hopeful I was. I was waiting for an imaginary tribe mate.
So when you get voted out, can you talk about like that after process? That's one of like my favorite parts. I like to tell people is like what happened after you got voted out.
I think it was the host of Survivor Brooklyn South, George, my therapist, saying, "Hey man, how you feeling?" And I was like, "Terrible." No, he was just asking questions, being a genuine good pal, and there I hung out with. I think what really helped was I think Laura was still there, so I kept her there for a little bit longer while I unwinded and while I winded down and decompressed from it all, because it is emotional, right? So more than anything, Laura was very helpful. But I think by the time I left the grounds or the battlefield or whatever, I was like, all right, bro, good luck. Y'all are lovely. I wish y'all the best. So I was over it. I was over it pretty quick. But I was blindsided. Did it hurt my feelings? It didn't hurt my feelings. It was more like damn, bro, you're an idiot. It was more of you think you know, but you don't know anything.
Did you take your skills from this into Survivor Philly? Because I know that Survivor New York was your first game, but then you went into play Survivor Philly and you did very, very well. So I'm just curious if you brought anything that you learned from Survivor New York over to there.
Everything's a learning experience, right? So if I'm gonna lose, let me get something out of it. But the lessons I learned, it wasn't like strategy. The lessons I learned were more of play with the people you want to play with, have fun, and regardless of what happens, at least it's on your terms, rather than you're playing someone else's game. I didn't want to play someone else's game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what it boils down to. So there are times where I was a little conservative or held back, but at least I knew it wasn't me. that's really what it boils down to, right? You get to reflect, and I've been harping on the fact that I was a terrible ally, and I decided I was going to be a good ally this time. Share information. Don't keep it real.
Do you feel like you're gonna play something again in the future?
I was getting the itch, but again, like 5 days, like I gotta
Yeah.
days off from work and shit. Like, come on, man. Like,
We talked about this, like, it's really hard. A lot of games are far away. You know, everyone's hosting them all over the country, but they're far away or they're too long for, I think, people who could do a weekend to do. And it makes it difficult.
yeah, I'd like to, right? Like, it's fun. Ultimately it's fun, and ultimately you're meeting new people, and ultimately you're, getting away for a weekend, doing something different, right? But
Yeah.
it's a commitment too, and if you're out first, it's like, damn, bro, I booked this
Yeah.
flight all the way for this, like, and that's fine. You could, I'll find something to do, but I'm
Yeah.
taking a day
That's
off.
like a
I
learning
gotta,
experience you've already had. You don't want to have it again.
yeah. It's.
But
I'd
both,
like to play again. I like to play
yeah.
again, but I like to watch now. I'm
But
like,
there are other games that
I'm
are not
free.
too far that you could do. Like there's, Survivor Brooklyn's out. There's a new I don't know, re-edition of that's coming out soon. And then, I mean, if you
What
want to do
what
Survivor
I like to do is
Buffalo,
I like to help around.
Yeah.
I think I
that's
mentioned earlier.
true.
I like to watch this stuff live in action. I literally went to a New York City public park to watch this while there's there's other people around. Do we have permission? No idea. Whatever. Should I even be saying this out in public? Don't know. But
Yeah, the New
I
York
just like
City Parks
watching.
Department is watching this podcast very closely.
They should sponsor us. We should be on PBS, right? So what do you guys think about this? Right, this is how surviving Bannerman Island has changed my life. What if this, right? We take a episodic series sponsored by the New York City Public Parks Department. We ask the community who wants to sponsor the kiddies that are going to play in the game, and then boom, we have a show on PBS that's Survivor game one day. And
Would PBS really like that though?
I don't
Something
know. I
so
have no idea. I'm just
cutthroat?
talking shit. I just figured they want free content, right? Isn't that what PBS does? Isn't that their thing?
I think you're
We'll make it
right.
educational, right? We'll make the challenges,
Yeah.
clean up the
Hey
park.
kids, here's how you handle a
That's a
situation
good
like this. It's like
idea.
Zoom. Yeah.
This is the challenge. We'll pick up the
Yes, I love
syringes
Zoom.
in Prospect Park, and then we'll put in a bag. The tribe that chops down the most number of bushes wins pizza.
Or how many sewer rats can you catch in the next hour?
Exactly. How many homes can you fumigate for for the seniors of Coney Island? Those are the
Ooh.
challenges.
Ari, what is your favorite moment? I mean,
Favorite moment?
if you have a favorite moment, what is your favorite moment from Survivor New York, Bannerman Island?
What a great question.
Could be anything.
I think it's me. It's not even captured. Like, there's no footage of this because you guys were sleeping, but it was me leaving the tent to pretend to use the bathroom to look for a hidden immunity idol, and then having like a horror movie. The one person I didn't want to see me catch me say, "Hey man, what's up?" I thought it was funny. Like, that was hilarious to me.
No,
that
that
I
is
couldn't
funny.
have asked for a worse timing on anything, and it's exactly what happened. I take the humor in things, so I found that funny.
I'm curious if Danny remembers that and like what his side of the story is of that, and if he did use that information or not, because it's not like in any of the footage that we have strategizing, but I'm sure he must have mentioned it to somebody along the way.
Sure, it played a role in the, like, what is wrong with this guy? What is he doing?
Yes.
I was slow, like I can't stress enough how slowly I was shimmying away from the tent because I needed to, like, I couldn't step over people. I had to go like under the hood or whatever. So ridiculous.
Yes.
And I thought I was being a genius. I think that was the funny part.
Ari, the other question I have is there anybody that you didn't get to play with? Anybody on the other tribes that you wish that you got to
Annie.
spend time with or play with?
I'm in love with Annie. I love Annie. I would marry Annie right now. Final two to the end. No, but Annie. I wanted to play with Annie.
Yeah.
I remember
This is my
hearing
take
about
on
that.
Annie. Underestimated, very smart. I remember even before, like in the days here, people were talking, and like Annie's just busting out like Survivor facts, I'm like, I don't like what? How do you remember this? So she's gonna be underestimated.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with that 100%. Annie's the most underestimated player here. But people love her. Like, there's a whole community of Annie fans, and now
The
you get to be a
Stannies.
part of that. The
The Stannies.
Stannies.
Oh, that's great.
But I actually
Number one
remember
Stanny.
when we were making the tribes, one of the little
I have a medal that says I'm a huge Annie fan. Like I have a gold medal that has
From her
it. This is
30th
my-
birthday?
that was my Survivor Philly luxury item. That's what I brought with me.
Well, that's one of the things. We heard that you guys went to like a birthday party together. So that was like one of the things. We cannot put these two on a tribe because they know each other.
They know each other. I love Annie. She's great. You know what would have been trouble? I'd tell you what would have been trouble. If I would have been in the game and McKenna, Robin, Kristen, Annie, and Laura were still there, then it would have been like, oh shit, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Because from my perspective, I was gonna play the game with all of them. And I was gonna go to the end with all of them. Like to the end.
You're the Chris Daughtry to the in their Vanuatu, like
I would have loved that for
yeah.
sure.
And by the way, I'll say it right now. I'll give the game away right now. Like there's a pattern, right? Like I'm not gonna play the game with men. Like just, if you're a guy and you approach me and you want to play an alliance, like get away from me. We're not doing this.
I thought you were just gonna like reveal a pattern of how this season goes, and I was like, wait, don't do that.
No, of how I play the game.
Yeah. Well, you know who I think would have been a really interesting dynamic to see together. You would crack me up. Is if you and Coach were on a tribe, if you and Drew.
Oh, I love, yeah.
I would have.
Big fan.
We would have gotten so much like just hilarious.
If y'all put me
footage.
on purple, it would have been a wrap. Because I also really bond and I really vibe with Julia. Like,
yeah.
I really connect with Julia. Like, just like her energy. Big Julia fan. So like me, Annie, Julia, and Coach. Oh, that would have been hilarious.
In an alternate world, you and Stan switching tribes would be very interesting, I feel like. Because I think you would have been the king of purple.
I think I would have had the influence that I thought I had on green with purple.
Yes, for sure.
But then I would not have meshed well with like Jeremy. He just talks like I'd be like, oh man, he's way too smart. You know, like he talks strategy really like at a pace that I can't.
And you're not even watching the episodes.
Oh yeah,
because I know him. Like
I
I sit next to him during episodes, and I'm like, you're thinking of things that never even occurred to me.
Yes, as I said, there's a lot of hypothesizing from Jeremy. It's always like, and Jeremy and Veronica, and they're like a feedback loop where they're just feeding into each other about like what could go next, what could happen next.
Yeah,
and I really love it.
And I like to stare at the clouds, as I've mentioned sometimes.
Yes.
So I'm the kind of person where I'm like, yo, we got a deal. We know the plan. All right, perfect. Let's watch the sunset.
All right, let's play ball. Like
let's hit some rocks with this big ass tree log.
That's your best scene of the whole series is you and the baseball, like talking about the analogy and Danny throwing you the rock and you hitting it.
Oh yeah, you
vice versa.
Ari, Chris did the funniest fucking cut I've ever seen in my life on anything, where you're giving a confessional where you're like, Danny's handing me the ball and I'm knocking it out of the park, and then it just cuts to you playing baseball, and it's so fucking funny.
That's great. You know what? That's just great editing.
Chris,
just because I'm talking shit, and then it happened to go with some archive footage of me in my natural habitat.
If anything, we need to watch that. We need to find the exact footage of like that 10 seconds and like literally just watch that.
Episode 3?
Episode 2.
All right, I'll put it on.
It'll be.
That was the one that we watched at the watch party, right?
Yes.
I came in super late.
I think you missed most of the episode.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
That's all right.
That's why it lives on the internet forever.
So quickly, I just want to do something kind of fun about your tribe. I'm gonna name their name. Just give me a one word to describe them. And
I don't want to do that. One word. You know what? Real quick before you do that, because I want to tell the story about McKenna. This is what I love about like what we're doing, what this is, this community, like Survivor New York, right? Like how many New York residents are there? Like 8 million, right? So like after this experience, I'm walking down a random Brooklyn street,
Wow.
and I'm just going home, like my head in the clouds. I'm like whistling while I'm going home from work. I just had a day from work. I had a great day. You know, I'm whistling. Weather's nice, and I'm walking down, and I stopped to take a photo of this fencing business in Brooklyn, and I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, why is there fencing? Like, what is happening? So whatever. I snap a photo. Thought it'd be hilarious because obviously I'm gonna sign up in the future. I'm gonna do that because it's funny. So I'm like seeing, like, as soon as I'm done snapping this photo, I see someone walk by, and I'm like, McKenna? Is that McKenna? Like, how did I McKenna? And I'm gonna shout her name. This person turns around. It's freaking McKenna walking to Kayla's place, and like randomly, like Kristen's there hanging out. So like a random New York City street, like I bump into someone from this game. Like it's just wild. Like that's the stuff that I love, right? I just recommend anyone do this. You're gonna meet some cool people, some interesting New Yorkers, maybe some people out of state. And even if you only met them for a few hours, I don't know. You never know who you'll bump into, and I think I just encourage people to sign up for this. And people even ask me like, "Would you do this again?" And one thing that I ask for, that I demand, is that there be diversity. So I even ask like, "Yo, you got a diverse cast?" So that's a challenge for people that host these games, right? Like New York City, Survivor, New York, Bannerman Island, like there's New Yorkers everywhere, and we're like our season should look like a Times Square subway platform, and that includes tourists, right? That includes people from out of state. They don't all have to be New Yorkers. So I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Just off my soapbox. I just wanted to tell that story.
I like that.
Of, like,
I think that's a great story.
You never know who you'll bump into, right? What if I needed a friend to talk to that time, right? Like McKenna would have been right there. So I just think that's really cool. Like I appreciate.
I agree.
The community side of things more than anything.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I think, about bringing people. First of all, I think that explicitly Survivor New York casting is about Chris and I getting new friends. But you're bringing people together who maybe wouldn't normally ever get to meet each other. Like, we would never get to meet Julia in person. Julia's not in New York. And yet we get to spend a whole weekend with her. Like, there's all these elements of, like, I would never get to hang out with this person normally. And now I do. And now I really know what a great person they are,
and you know what I'm impressed by too, like you have a collection of very impressive professionals too. Like maybe I'm a psycho that thinks that way, but I'm like we don't have like students, or like we don't have children, right?
Unemployed model, unemployed. Yeah.
I think it's fascinating that you have legitimate professionals, you have leaders of industry, you have
elected government officials at this point.
I'm very shocked too, believe me. I have someone that works on Big Brother that played the game, so I'm like, that was something.
And not just that, right? Like we have elected public officials.
That
we
too.
Have, like,
I will say
people
this
in
is
the entertainment industry. Like it's just I love that. And
funny story is that we had somebody that was supposed to play your season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Naomi. Remember that one girl? I forget. She was like half Chinese, half American, and she was an elected UN official. But something.
She worked for the UN. Yeah.
Yes, but something conflicted with one of the days of the game, so she had to drop out. But she was originally casted, and it was so cool that somebody from the UN was actually going to play. And then Sharif kind of came along, and he's like a videographer for the UN. So it's like, how insane is that? It's like reaching people like that.
Valencia mentioned in the chat, like people with careers. I think that's really, you guys should be proud because it's just impressive. You're not just picking anyone, right? You're picking very impressive people with experience and stories to tell. You know what I'm saying? You're not just like, hey, you're in middle school. Why don't you fucking
wait till season 6? We have
season 6. No more lawyers. No.
There's a lot of interesting people from there.
No, and I think that's great, because ultimately the way I look at it is a reflection of, because this is what I see, right? Like at work, I think people have mentioned it, like, hey, like you're surviving. People know that I love this stuff, right? So my next phase is, how do I help some of the casting or recruiting? And I would love some of the people that I work with who who are maybe familiar with the show, but is like, bro, why don't you just take a weekend and have some fun? Why don't you challenge yourself? I think that'd be interesting for people that aren't super fans, but they're, they get the concept and they can be challenged. They can be humble. They can meet New Yorkers as well.
That's like what Veronica did in a lot of ways. I don't think Veronica was a very big Survivor fan, and she took the chance because Davey was her coworker and said, why don't you do this thing? I think the thing though, Ari, is that you have to be there. You have to be there. You always feel kind of like, you're dragging somebody into the experience. So you want to make sure that they feel comfortable because they have one familiar face,
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean.
Thank you, Robin, for this lovely comment. I can't apply for Big Brother or Survivor, so thanks for providing an outlet for us folks. I think that's totally true. I know that it's exactly what Chris wants to do. It is so many. I don't want to go on national television in my bathing suit. You know what I mean? Like, so many of us don't want to do the real show or can't do the real show or won't ever just get the chance. And so let's make this a really fun, positive experience with none of the internet trolls.
Well, there are some, but
there are some.
Not too
whatever.
many.
If that,
I'm just off center a bit. There was a comment left on the YouTube that said, one of the funniest comments so far has been, did Survivor really run out of like places to go? That they're really in New York? Like, they really thought we were in, like, it's a New York.
I think that's a great. You look at that, and I think that's a great comment, right? If you're a troll, I think that's great. That's brilliant. If you're a troll,
let me tell you the second one. The second one was, this guy is no Jeff Probst.
Thanks for
I'm not trying to be.
Right.
I am not trying to be. I will never be Jeff Probst. I like the creative process of this and making like people become my friends or now my family. That's what this is about. It's not trying to be anything. Like, no one's trying to be anything.
And even somewhere, like every Wednesday, I know where to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna see those familiar faces. I think that's really cool. People that are traveling from out of town, right? And they come to New York, and maybe they've played one of these games, and they happen to be here for work, right? Like, they know where to go on Wednesday. I think there's something really cool about like a safe space, right? Like,
yeah. And because of this, you were able to walk on the New York City street and just say someone's name, and then be like,
right,
"Hey, like, hey, now we could go hang out and do something." Because didn't you guys I think you guys did hang out.
We hung out for a little bit. I ended up leaving, going home. But yeah, but either way, we caught up, right? Which is something really cool.
And that's really cool.
In like 2 months or a month and a half, because that was the time frame. It was like a month and a half, 2 months since the last time I saw him. So, and that's just cool, right? Like, I don't know. I'm very passionate about that side of things.
All right. So to wrap this up, just give me, I'm going to say one of your tribe members' names. You give me a one word to describe them, and then I'm going to go to work, unfortunately.
Okay.
So starting with Kristen.
Brilliant.
Andy.
Funny.
Robin.
Love.
McKenna.
It's not gonna make sense. Straight G, just straight gangster, yo.
Oh, I like that. And Danny.
Intense.
That is the most accurate word of all 5.
Okay, this is so much fun. All right, thank you for being here. I love talking to you all the time. Chris, thank you as always. Thank you to everybody who comments, who listens, who's watching. I really appreciate it. Valencia left a lovely comment. The pandemic introduced me to a majority of you, and as a viewer, so I legit love to watch games.
Valencia is my new favorite fan because she's always there watching and commenting. So she's my number one fan, my favorite fan. Our
favorite silent podcast moderator. Thank you, everybody who has listened, watched so far. Make sure to leave a comment on the Survivor New York YouTube channel, youtube.com/Survivor New York, so that we get that algorithm going. We get people watching who maybe wouldn't normally watch, because it's all about reaching somebody new and getting some new friends. So thank you so much for listening. Ari, thank you so much for being here.
We love you, Ari.
I appreciate y'all.
Pookie.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Ari Ferrari.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye. Good morning. Oh my God.
Have a great weekend.
Have the best day ever. How about that one?
Yeah.